Good morning, everybody. Let's give another minute or two for people who are still waking up after the long holiday weekend. Okay, well, I think we can get started. Good morning, everyone. We are going to go over some updates first thing, and then we will have Stephen Cooley, our research navigator in the VPR office, talk to us about the OSP website. And I will end with a little bit of how the sausage is made on award setup and integration. So first thing, some hiring updates. So pre-award is excited but also sad to announce that one of our senior admins, Jamie, is going to be staying with UVA, staying in the VPR office, but leaving us as a senior admin. So Jamie starts next week on the training team under Erica Pretty. So we're really excited for her and for the fact that she'll still do all of the training and training materials for OSP. So we'll still get to work with her. But this is her last week as a senior admin. We are restructuring the pre-award senior admin team, so we will not replace Jamie with another senior admin. We're actually going to repurpose that and hire an award setup admin to increase the size of that team. And that has been posted, and I think Sam, who's out today, the award setup manager, Sam Bryant, is starting to look at resumes and do screening calls. So if you know anyone interested in an award setup position, that's what we're hiring for. So that is the pre-award update. We will send out changes in portfolios and all of that next week, Monday. Urmila has a post-award staffing update.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm going to hand off to Gareth because, Gareth has some updates for all of us. Thanks.
Thanks, Irma. Good morning, everyone. So we have a new person joining our team. His name is Norbert Longsworth. He joins us from Wyoming University. He's actually based in Alabama right now. He's been a grant accountant both at Wyoming and at University of Alabama, Birmingham for a few years. He does have workday experience, which is incredibly valuable. So we're excited to bring him on board. He'll be joining the School of Engineering team. Another update we have is that Tammy Sutton, one of the lead accountants in School of Medicine, is leaving us. She's moving out of UVA. She's been here with us for almost 10 years. So we're very sorry to see her go, but very happy that she's moving on to some new adventures. We have the posting for her position. I think that got posted on Friday, so that one's live already. So please go ahead and apply if you're interested, or spread the word if you know anybody that is. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And then any other updates from post-award? Okay.
No, we're going to jump in as and when we are required.
Perfect.
Thanks.
So let's move on to the contracts team. Lynn, do you have updates for staffing?
Yeah, just a little good news, although not as good as Garrett's. So we have been interviewing. We had just some incredible candidates for replacing Sarah Cole's contract negotiator position. So this is still open, and we have 3 more interviews to finish this week, but we hope to make an offer very, very quickly. So more soon. And Sarah's portfolio, she helped with non-funded agreements for basically all of the schools. So great, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Bill, who will provide some other updates about pre-award, post-award, UG, There we go, UG. I was guessing.
All right. Thanks, Mary Beth. Good morning, everyone. Hope everybody had a nice Labor Day weekend. So yes, I'm here to discuss the latest on the uniform guidance revision updates that are slated to be implemented October 1st. And so there's been a lot of questions. We've been monitoring the situation with our counterparts in UVA Finance quite closely, as well as for any updates from groups like COGR. Irma is on a COGR working group on this subject, and so we have kind of the latest information available on some of the implementation timelines and sort of what things will look like as we get closer to the October 1st implementation date. And we also want to, we've given other presentations on sort of what exactly is changing. But in this one, we want to focus on sort of some of the timelines and some more practical implementation guidance for you all. So at the most basic level for new awards, the requirements for UG are that federal agencies are required to use the revised definitions and the revised uniform guidance for all new awards entered into on or after October 1st. And then that also implicates award templates, terms and conditions, NOFO templates that there was a fair amount of work done in the UG revisions to standardize and streamline NOFO templates, policies and procedures, and other program documents and policies. So we've been seeing some federal agencies, NSF just last week revised some of their RTCs to reflect some of these, and I expect more in the future in anticipation of the October 1 implementation date. Okay, so for existing awards, it's OMB is providing strong encouragement is the wording, but because these are up to the federal agencies, that's sort of the extent of the requirement as far as for existing awards. But OMB is strongly encouraging them to apply 2024 revisions for any amendments agencies are entering into on or after the October 1 deadline that provide additional funds. That OMB is encouraging agencies to amend existing awards for this purpose if the awards will extend beyond fiscal year 2025, and that the agency may apply these through things like no-cost extensions for purposes other than providing additional funds, for example. And in cases where federal agencies amend an existing award to apply the 2024 revisions, the revisions will generally apply prospectively for all activities after that date. So there's a lot of concern from universities on sort of a retroactive application of some of the revisions, and OMB has been clear that agencies may never retroactively apply the revisions if doing so would impose additional substantive burden or requirements on the recipient. But they do give some flexibility for some written approval to recipients, allowing them to apply specific provisions that may reduce burden, but that they're clear that that flexibility does not apply to any of the indirect cost rates, or, for example, the de minimis rate going to 15%, that cannot be applied retroactively. So, for instance, a federal agency could implement some provision that minimizes some of the burden on a recipient retroactively, but it can't be anything to do with any of the indirect cost rates. Okay, so the crux of what we want to convey here has to do mostly with the implementation on these definition changes as it relates to UVA's negotiated indirect cost rate agreement. There's been a lot of discussion lately in the past few months on some of these timelines. We did put out some guidance on October 21st, and we're here to basically reiterate that guidance that nothing has changed on that. And that guidance is that we must continue to use the prior MTDC definitions in all proposals and awards. So 25K on subawards, the 5K equipment definition, those are sort of the two big ones that we must continue to use until further notice, basically. So the situation is that because the changes to the MTDC definitions have to do with each individual institution's NICRA, it's become subject to some of the timing of where that NICRA is in the process of moving from predetermined or provisional rates. And because our NICRA is in provisional rate status right now, we must continue to apply the existing MTDC definitions. Like I said, we're working really closely with our UVA finance colleagues. I know Irmila's in constant contact as early as this morning on what their understanding is, what the latest that they're seeing. I think as it relates to, for example, the equipment definitions, there's a lot at the state level that goes into state level definitions of equipment. So it's not just UVA's decision on moving forward or UVA's NICRA, for example, that's implicating some of these decisions. But we are working through the issue, and we'll provide any additional guidance as we have it. I think in terms of what OMB has provided, they did put out some guidance that they encourage cognizant agencies to accommodate requests to renegotiate existing NICRAs that are in effect beyond October 1, 2025. So again, that's a UVA finance-led decision, but we're in close contact with them. Anything else you want to add on that point, Irmila? Anything I'm missing?
No, you said it beautifully. So right now we don't know what we don't know. So basically we are going to move forward with our existing indirect cost rate in all our proposals, and then we will find out more when we hear from our cost recovery group. And also remember, they are also working with consultants and our cognizant audit agency, which is DHHS. So we will keep everybody informed the moment we have more, on this topic.
Thanks, Irmila. So yeah, I just in this closing slide, it's sort of a what we know and what we're still monitoring type situation. But we know for certain that we're still using that we're not using the revised MTDC definitions, that we're using the existing definitions until further notice, until we have basically a revised NICRA, or there is a possibility that OMB could provide further guidance. There was a letter sent from COGR earlier in August that was requesting that. I don't think there's been any response to date on that. And so given that we're within a month of the implementation deadline, OMB may be hesitant to make deviations at this point and just look to the existing guidance. But like I said, we're monitoring the situation. I did put in a few links here on some of the implementation guidance that we've been looking at from COFA and from COGR as well. That's been quite helpful on understanding sort of what changes and what doesn't change. So more to come from us on that. We'll be sharing more information as we have it.
Thanks, Bill. Any questions from the group about those updates?
Yes, I actually have one. We're submitting a proposal to the Digital Equity Initiative. Just came out from the White House. And they specifically stated in their threshold, in their solicitation, to use the $50,000 threshold for subs. Are we permitted to do it in that case, since it specifically states in the solicitation to do that?
Bill, may I take it?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, my suggestion will be to go back to them and tell them that this is, what is our situation, current situation, and ask the agency, how we are going to handle it. Because they cannot actually implement their rules on us when we have to follow our existing indirect cost rate proposal. Rate agreement, I'm sorry. So it will be better, Catherine, if you can go back to your grant analyst or whoever you're working with and just find out, how they want us to deal with this situation.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Bill or Irma? Okay, well, now we're going to have a little tour of the updated OSP website from Stephen. So take it away, Stephen.
Hello, everyone. I am throwing a link to the new site in the chat. As everyone's probably noticed, VPR started kind of an overhaul of all the unit websites that fall under the Office of the Vice President for Research, including OSP. So in July, OSP reviewed all the content, and we did some updating, and we have the new site still currently in progress. Can y'all see it?
Yeah, so Stephen, I was just going to say it's showing a black screen right now. Maybe try sharing again. Oh, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason it. Okay. So just a few notes. Again, the site is still a work in progress. We're still building a couple of things. It has a new URL. So again, I threw that in the chat. So it would be osp.research.virginia.edu. Any pages that you had bookmarked from the old site will need to be re-bookmarked. Most of the most highly used pages are currently redirecting automatically if you use the old links. However, that is a temporary measure and that will go away at some point. I haven't been given a date of when that'll happen, so it's probably good to go in and start digging around and replacing those links. So just I did want to highlight some of those commonly used areas. As you can see, the appearance is a bit simpler, a little bit more streamlined. We've embedded some useful information on the homepage. So we have research UVA login, institutional information is one of the first things you see, trends and expenditures, important dates. And we're trying to organize content and resources based on kind of what umbrella they fall under within OSP. And we're trying to make it the site easily navigable so that you can go to the homepage and kind of figure out what you need and get to it. So some of those important pages, again, institutional information is a big one. We have that linked right here. You can also find that under resources. And we've tried to clean up a little bit, make it easier to locate the information that you might need. So separating out the stuff about UVA and sponsored programs versus the other information, which is now alphabetized. And we are currently working with CACs to figure out if we can get some functionality built out to make it easier to kind of search and filter that information. System access is in the new OSP info team area for electronic research administration. Here's where you'll find the system logins for Research UVA, JUICE, and the legacy system, as well as contact information, stuff like that. Policies and procedures are also under resources. I want to note that the policies and procedures have all been reviewed and updated, mainly to bring them up to date, get rid of any references to Oracle and the older systems, and make them more relevant to Research UVA and Huron. One big update that I want to highlight is the contacts. So as with any other website, there's a contact page. However, we're really trying to incorporate information to help people find who they need to contact when they need it. So for example, here on the contact page right at the top, we provide information, system level information for how to locate a contact for a specific project. As well, we're trying to build in call outs within the pages to help people, like I got a new award, I need to get somebody's assistance. How can I do that? We're trying to make it very obvious. And then a couple other highlights to note. There is a new subaward section that is being built out, but I think it's got some really good content. We've got some detailed information about requesting subawards at different stages of the award process. And then also to note, we no longer have a forms page, and instead we are incorporating the forms kind of where they're most relevant. So here, the subaward forms are right there on the subaward page. The post-award forms are similarly on the post-award page. So those are kind of some of the bigger highlights that we have right now. I did want to also talk about a couple things that are still in the works that we're still working on. So training and resources are currently being updated by Erica Pretty's team in VPR. And once those are available, we'll be linking to her training hub as well as linking those resources within the content so that they're easily findable. We're developing a researchers page to kind of help guide them where they should go from the start. So schools and departments that have research administration support built in or available, we're trying to give them the information to direct them to you guys so that we can kind of keep the process flows going smoothly, as well as building in some compliance related information and tips for developing that kind of stuff. Another exciting aspect that the info team is working on are updated Tableau dashboards that will be embedded directly into the site. And this, I think the first phase is set to include the expenditures and award trends, however, which we currently already provide. However, these are going to provide additional metrics, a broader range, and allow more functionality for kind of drilling down a little bit and getting more details and more use out of those, as well as working on a Research UVA status page. Info team is working to develop some sort of indicator to let you know if the system is up or down. We plan to document known issues and any kind of scheduled downtime. And then there's some other kind of content that's in the works that will be coming soon. So other than that, we will communicate once things are a bit more finalized. However, I'm sure that we have some really good, useful support available on the website, and we hope that you guys find it useful as well. If as you're digging around, if you notice anything that's not working or any issues, please feel free to email me. You can email me at osp-help@virginia.edu or qpq5qx@virginia.edu, which I'll throw in the chat, which is my direct email. But otherwise, that's all I got for today.
Thanks, Stephen. Did you show at the very bottom of this page the news and announcements? Yeah, so just wanted to point out if Stephen hasn't already that CRA review course is coming up. So please sign up if you are interested in taking the CRA. It's also just a great kind of broad research administration overview. So people on our team take it even if they're not taking the CRA exam itself, because the sessions are great.
Thank you, Mary Beth, for that reminder. The first session, I believe, is this Thursday. So if you're going to enroll, go ahead and do so now. I'll be joining as well to kind of get a better idea of research administration. So,
Any questions about the website?
I have one quick question, and that is regarding the contacts page, which seems to be set up based on role description. I think historically we used to go based on portfolio assignment. We were able to easily look up whoever we needed on the post-award team or someone on the pre-award team based on portfolio. So are we sort of moving away from that? And if so, if it's just a general question that we have for either pre or post-award, is the preference now that we write to the general listserv if there isn't an assigned specialist? I was just wondering how we're supposed to navigate this going forward, since this is a big change.
yeah, so personally, I was hoping to get away from the spreadsheet of portfolio assignments, which it's looking like we're still going to be in that spreadsheet for a little bit, but I'm hoping to find another way. But I will be getting that spreadsheet back up on the website very soon because yes, I've heard that it's a lot of people use it.
Okay,
So
got
yeah,
it. I just wasn't sure if this was like a big change in terms of how we're supposed to reach out and whether we would be reaching out based on, you know, departmental portfolio. But okay, that helps. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Hi, Stephen. Question. There used to be like a form page that contains all the templates, like, you know, retro forms, pre-award setup, Excel spreadsheet. Is there still living in the new website, or where can we find those?
So the forms have been incorporated on the pages where they're most relevant. So the post-award forms are going to be in the post-award area, and we have forms for subawards. When we were reviewing the content in July, we realized that most of the information that was being captured in those forms are now being captured in Research UVA. And so only the ones that are not being captured in Research UVA that are still being used are still available on the website. But we will not have a forms page.
Jingyi, I think the form that you're thinking of is the transfer between grants. When we reviewed that, we felt like it was needing a complete overhaul, and so we started that conversation recently. Was it in rate, Bill, or I can't remember if it was rate or Cora or Cord, or
I think it
what's
was
the other
core
one?
team.
Core team. One of the many meetings that we have. So that form will be put back up after it's redesigned.
Okay. So then in the meantime, do we use the old form still? Like between now and the new form is come on.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
And Jingy, the post-award forms are still under post-award, the ones that we have to use.
Got it. I found them now. Okay.
Yeah, okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
And also, I do have another question. I noticed some of the listserv address might not be constantly published on the website, but I saw some emails coming and sometimes we contact them occasionally. Are those listservs still available? Such as like, I know I contact OSP, cash or that type, some post-award listserv and some other listserv address, random ones.
Yes, and that's another piece I forgot to point out. For post awards, since they cover so many different functions, we went ahead and developed a table that kind of lists out all the different ways to contact the post-award team, as well as the purposes why you might be reaching out via that. And so we did try to incorporate that on each of the sections as well. Most of the links to the different sections of the site include listserv information as well, kind of the main contacts.
Gotcha. Thank you, Steve.
Other questions about the website? Okay, well, thank you, Stephen. I know this is like phase one of many phases, especially when Jamie joins the training team. I'm sure we're going to be adding a whole lot more to the website, so more to come on that. This might be a recurring presentation. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now we are going to switch into a little bit of an update on integration and also a demo. So let me get my screen set. So as you all are hopefully aware, integration went live last week, and we have been sending things through without issue. It is definitely cutting down on our award setup time. I know Emily Wallace on our team recently said, oh, I finished the Huron piece and then realized I was actually done. I didn't have to go do the double data entry in Workday. So we're all really excited about that. But I know that this whole kind of integration process has been a bit of a black hole. And so we wanted to take some time in the spotlight today to walk through what happens. So your agreement is negotiated and fully executed, or a unilateral award is received. Setup happens, and then it gets to final review, and then what happens? So I wish Sam Bryant was here, the award setup manager. She would do a really great job at this as well. But I just wanted to show you a little bit behind the scenes. So here's an award. It's real. This is in production. It is for arts and sciences, and it's been set up and it's in final review. And so there are a few people on our team that are able to do the final review QC. And what they do is they check the award compared to the notice of award, unilateral award, or the agreement against all the information. And we have about 100 pages of guide on every single one of these fields and what they mean. So if you happen to go into Huron and you're looking at your award, you will see some different fields that might be important to you, or you might not understand what they're for. So I can point out a couple. 15 reporting date is one that comes up a lot. That is actually the date that we use to indicate what fiscal year the funds are falling in. We do not base our fiscal year division on the start or end date of the award. We base it on when we receive the award, when it's fully compliant and fully executed. And so that's what that date reflects. Documents are uploaded here. Questions 22 forward have been added to the smart form with integration. These are pieces of Workday setup that we now can put into Huron to go over to Workday. So your post-award and pre-award team members are listed here. If you're setting up, if we're creating an active award or something that is going to be an advance account for use. When it's federal, there's some federal identifiers such as the ALN, how we're billing. And then down here, we've added a field about cost share. So this one's actually a great example. This award has required cost share. And so we've marked it as yes and put in the anticipated cost share amount. When you go to the financial setup, These end up becoming our grants and award lines in Workday. And so because we have cost share, we had to create a separate award line. If you click into these financial setup lines, you're going to see a lot of information about that specific grant. And so the start and end date, which may change depending on if it's restricted carry forward or not. The responsible unit is going to be the cost center for that line. So if you've got an internal project going to a different cost center, that would change. Information about how the award is going to be invoiced, cost reimbursable. The revenue category tells you what type of funds. So this is a federal award, we're receiving federal funds. You all should be familiar with your spend restrictions. This is how we mark them for that initial setup period. You've got a whole section on your F&A, as well as the revenue allocation profile. Your grant work tags are also right here. And so your fund identifies the funding source. So this is a federal group of funds. If it was appropriations or state, it would be different, non-federal. And then the function, what are you using the funds for? This is a research project. We often see community service. There's a whole list in here. Instruction is another pretty common one. At the bottom, we put the departmental hierarchy. Those have been created and linked. So all we have to do is add the hierarchy here and the roles will add to the grant in Workday. And then there's some additional information if it's a sub-award. Grant ID and award line ID will populate once we activate this. The budget allocations in Huron is the place where we add the funds. And so you can see this has, this is just one allocation. The difference between financial setup and budget allocations is financial setup, how many grants and award lines do you need? How do you need to divide the money? Budget allocation is how many increments of funding are you going to receive? And so if this was an NIH 5-year award, you should see 5 different increments of funding represented on the budget allocation page. The budget recon divides the funds up in between the different categories. And so here are all of our budget categories. And we need that internal budget from you all to be able to correctly put the funds in the right budget categories. And then there's a page on the personnel on the award, the effort of the personnel. You can see here, the PI is cost sharing effort. So we've got 1% effort requested or on the project, but no effort requested from the sponsor, which creates a 1% cost share. Terms and conditions. We have a lot of questions about what are the terms and conditions on my award. You can come into the SMART form and look at these. This award has a restricted carry forward. Here's our types of cost share that are happening, payroll and waived F&A. And then we also have where the equipment title will be going. And this is something that fixed assets looks at as well. So we identify the equipment title. And you can see there's a long list of other types of terms and conditions on this page. Deliverables are filled out by the departments, and then compliance review comes over from the proposal. We verify it's correct. If anything was a yes, there's some additional questions that we fill out. And then a box for additional information. Once that review is complete, we also, just as a side note, we do check the COI disclosure status. No review required. That's what we want to see. We want to make sure these dates are within the time frame. So then Sam, Judy, myself, and then others in the future will hit the activate button. When they've done their full QC, they think that this award is ready to go. And this is the integration. And so you can now see a new section has popped up on the page called Financial Integration Status. When I refresh the screen, it's going to tell me that the award did get sent. Yes. And then I'm waiting for a response. So what that means is we have sent the information to the middleware, which is that magic middleware section that's going to check against a huge list of validations we've built to make sure that that award, it's like an extra QC step for us. It takes at most minute or two to go through that QC process in the middleware and then to populate Workday. So we hit refresh a couple times and wait for the status to change. So I'm going to give it a minute to think and pause and ask if there were any questions about the smart form or the process up until this point.
Mary Beth, this is Nate. Thanks for showing this. I'm just curious, you said we could check the smart form to see some of these details. But this was like before integration. Is it possible? How do we do that after the fact? I'm just curious, like where we can see some of those things, like the award restrictions and things like that.
Yeah, so this blue button now says edit award because it's in the process of sending and I have access to the award to make changes. When it is locked, or if you don't have full access, you can still come in here and click that blue button. It'll say
It would say
view
view
award.
for us, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep, and all of that will be there.
Okay, great. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. Appreciate that.
And that was all I needed. One question before it activated. I can still answer other questions, but let's talk about what happened. So this award passed all of the validations that we've created and activated. And so now what you see is the AWD number has been added to the short title. If I click that view award, we are now in a read-only state. At the bottom of the general award info page, you also will see the AWD number. And then on the financial setup page, you'll see the 2 GR numbers that have been created. So if you know your funding proposal, you can get here. Ooh.
Mary Beth, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is it that quick that it would be in Workday if you went to look it up, or does it take a while overnight to refresh there?
No, I'm going to show you that in a second. It is
Sorry to
instantaneous.
burst your bubble there. That should have been your thunder and I stole it. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Nate, Mary Beth, I'm going to interject here just a minute. That's different. Being in Workday is not the same as being in warehouse, just so we're clear. That's going to take your overnight, but main system, it'll be there.
So Vonda, you're saying like if we went to go to try to find it in Juice, for example, it won't show up till the next day?
That is correct.
Great point, Vonda. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, so Huron updates to include the AWD number and the GR numbers. And then if you click view, very tiny view next to that award line, and scroll to the bottom, you're also going to see your grant ID here and which award line it is in Workday. And terms and conditions. Oops, where'd it go? It's no longer that long list of checkboxes. It just minimizes it. So you could just quickly click on terms and conditions and see what's there if that's something you're interested in.
So Mary Beth, can I ask a question about terms and conditions really quick?
Sure.
Since the view that most people are going to have is going to be this limited view after the award is finalized, is there a place where somebody can go and see the full list of possible terms and conditions? And can you also confirm that we are actively tracking everything in that list?
So as far as the full list, Bill, do we have it on our website?
So yeah, I was going to jump in. We don't have it on the website right now. We're reviewing a couple of them, making sure we have some consistent guidance. I think I've said in the past, I'm fine to provide that whole list. just waiting on some feedback on a few of them at the moment. So yeah, I think in the near future we can work with Stephen on posting that and basically allow people to see what, so many of these, it's fairly straightforward, but then for some small percentage, when you get into particularly on the contract side, they can be quite nuanced, and sort of what does this term and condition mean? So once we have some of that finalized, we can certainly put that out. There's no issues with doing that. And that would give everybody I think what you're asking of sort of like, here's the universe of what could be tracked. It's just, it's not checked on this award. That means that TNC is not applicable here.
And then things like equipment title, we've been working with Joyce in fixed assets to have her be able to access Workday to look at these terms and conditions as well. And so that's something too, that they are, using this list, going in and tracking things. What I didn't think I fully understood your second question, Lauren. Could you repeat that?
Yeah, so I'm just curious if the full list of available terms and conditions, are we tracking all of those things? So can somebody expect that if there is an applicable term and condition, it's being tracked in Huron so that they could see it in this view?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Like this view is basically, it only shows, so the previous view has with all the check boxes is when you're in there modifying the form itself. This view is just distilling that down of here's what you have checked for this particular award.
Right, so I guess, so just as an example, in the list, I know, and I think Mary Beth, you sort of scrolled past this, there was a term for 90-day pre-award costs applicable. Are we only checking that when we are enacting the pre-award costs? So that wouldn't be visible even though it's an applicable term and condition.
Yeah, and I mean that goes to some of the definitions that we're reviewing on. So yeah, I mean I think once the information of like here's how OSP is interpreting the use of this field, then it should make a little more sense, I think.
Yeah, good point.
Well, I think that I think it's an important distinction though for people to understand that if we're only showing, like in that case, an award that is applicable to have 90-day pre-award costs, but we are not defining it as having those, that's a nuanced interpretation of what that term and condition means. So I think it's important for people to understand that there may be terms and conditions that are sort of omitted, even though they may be applicable to the award, but the omission is somehow the indicator itself that
Yeah, I mean
that
that's
we've made a
point.
determination about that.
I think it's also a cost benefit analysis of like, do you want a term and condition for something that's so prevalent that like it's almost not worth tracking? So some of the way that we've structured them is, the absence of something where we're going to capture the less likely scenario. But yeah, I think that's a fair point, and I think that should be outlined when the definitions are published.
Well, because I mean, I think it's one thing to say that is so prevalent, and that's true, but that makes an assumption that a lot of people know things they may not know if they're new. And I think it would be very helpful if we could have the visibility of that list so that we could at least kind of cross-check against the possibilities, so that if we see something missing that we think is maybe incorrect, we could question that. I mean, is there no chance of getting that list, that entire list, visible in this view in Huron?
I don't know if we have any flexibility on the question mark box. No?
Oh, the question mark? I mean, so
We could investigate putting something in there.
I mean that we could probably put it, I think what we'll end up doing is put a link in there to our website. We wouldn't want to put every term and condition in here because you'd have to scroll a lot. And it's pretty restricted as to bells and whistles.
So
But
I have
yes.
gone off mute, Mary Beth, for a reason.
Oh, please, thanks. Irmela, go ahead.
Because you know, departments generally, when they receive the award notice, they would go into the system, whichever system, and review the notifications, right? The award documentation, and will realize whether something is under expanded authority versus SNAP versus carry forward restrictions. So we can use the system only for, you know, certain terms and conditions, Lauren. But it is from when I was heading a department, I know, you know, what we used to do. We would always go in and check the terms and conditions from the award document itself. So just wanted to, you know, move over to the next topic, Maribeth, about the notifications, how they're going to work. Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, thank you. So as I said to Nate, this does get created right away in Workday. And so I just copied and pasted the AWD number. Here it is. You can see that the UVA number becomes part of the name. So it's the reverse of what's in Huron. The award is set up as you would expect it to be set up if we did it manually. So all the data is filled out. You can look at the sponsor information, the funding details. You could see that cost share got brought over. Special conditions is where the Workday specific terms and conditions come over. So not every single term and condition will come over, but ones related to financial pieces will be brought over. The award lines, I prefer this award line view here. You can see all of the information that we set up on that financial setup page of Huron gets brought over. You can see your grant. If you right click and do see in new tab, here's all your grant information, your related work tags, and then your roles. So remember, we picked the hierarchy and all of the roles auto-populate. The plan is a page that I really encourage everyone to start looking at. It is how we broke out the funds by object class. We talked about this a few spotlights ago. If you want to rebudget within a grant, the grant manager has the ability to do that. It goes to post-award for review after. But if you needed to move money between one of these two categories, you can. The other thing I want to call out, and Jingy, this is related to that budget transfer. You can download an Excel of this data, which is really helpful. The additional reports tab also shows you rules. Oh,
Does the sysallow flag is also flag at this stage, or where does it flag? Like if the and the grant is sysallow or not?
So it is a little bit annoying to navigate to. You have to hit the additional data. And then it's disallowed, yes or no.
So is that input in Huron as well?
Yep, it's on that financial setup in Huron.
Cool. Thank you.
That'd actually be the easier place to look
Yeah.
for it.
I was gonna say.
And then I wanted to show you that in the process history, you can see that it was completed and that it sent an event to post-award. So at this stage, right after we hit that activate button, it does two things. It sends out an email to the PI and the grant manager. And then it gives a to-do to post-award to do the billing schedule. So post-award is going to come in and create the billing schedule for this. Pre-award still has another step. We're going to upload the attachment, the award document. And then everyone in the departments also have a step. So all three groups really need to get involved in this. So the departments really need to come in and take a look at their award setup. Look at those award lines, look at your grants and your roles you could use that additional reports. Look at all these roles. On the award lines, take a look at the revenue allocation profile to make sure that it's a manual choice in Huron, so you need to make sure that that is correct, including the cost center, all of that. So group effort, everyone needs to be able to do that QC step to make sure that we set it up correctly. And then, as I said, pre-award comes in, adds the attachment, and post-award sets up the billing schedule. But it is live once you hit activate and ready to go. Questions about this? So I just want to say that the award setup team, as well as the info team, have spent almost a full year on this project and really have done an exceptional job with data cleanup and backfill and really reviewing this information over and over again and doing so much testing, and all of that hard work from these teams, including, post-award was doing this too. All of that hard work led to a very smooth go live and pretty smooth week after go live. So I really want to thank everyone who was involved in this and just call out that it took a lot of the OSP team to get this to where it is today, where we can set up and activate an award really quickly.
We are forgetting central IT,
Oh, central IT
the
team.
owners of the middleware.
Oh my goodness. Artie is like my new best friend. I saw her in Target the other day and I was so excited, a real live viewing, as well as Nancy Honeywell, who I think can figure out any issue we throw at her. So our finance team members, I guess we should thank Huron as well. So all of them are doing a great job. Okay, any other questions? Was it helpful to see kind of a behind the scenes? Okay, well, we thank you all for your time. This was recorded. We'll send it out with the email spotlight next week, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.